Alright, so you know what, Jeff?
No, but you can have this fake.
That was the best tribal council ever.
While Modern Survivor has been pretty hit or miss in their tribal councils, when they hit, oh boy. Today we'll be covering the 5 best Modern Survivor Tribal Council vote-offs, almost featuring a rock draw because of 2 votes, and a tribal council with over 7 advantages at play. On the topic of advantages, at number 5 we're going to the premiere of Survivor 40. Historically, premiere episodes have resulted in fairly predictable boots, such as the weakest on the tribe being eliminated. Even the season prior, Survivor 43, had a predictable premiere boot similar to the one just described. But nobody could have expected us for what was about to unfold in this premiere. Firstly, let's start with Maddy and Brandon. The two were portrayed as relatively close in the edit, and as you do on Survivor, they attempted to search for the idol together. This is when Brandon then found the idol, made an awful attempt at hiding it from Maddy, only to tell her he found it in perhaps the most suspicious way possible. But hey, even though it wasn't a secret idol, it was something only the two knew about, right? Enter Brandon. Brandon decided if he hadn't shattered his trust with Maddy before that, now was the perfect opportunity to eviscerate it. He told the entire tribe about the idol. Any chance the advantage had of tying Maddy and Brandon together was now dispersed as quickly as the information about Brandon unlocking the birdcage. After Matthew gambled with his life and became the one-armed bandit, plus B's knees, the Ratu tribe lost the first challenge. Psst, like the video. Because of Brandon's antics, Maddy wanted him out and leveraged her apparent connection with Kane to eliminate him. At Tribal, Lauren took the opportunity to bank her vote. Both Jimmy alongside Matthew played their shots in the dark too. Matthew played this to actually disguise his voting intentions, as he wanted to work with Maddy, but also Brandon. Dragging coconuts for 4 hours seemingly bonds men. Who would have known? Jamie also was massively targeted before this tribal council, hence her shot in the dark, but the Survivor editors said, psst, who needs context, and gave her a generic paranoid lady storyline. In the end, 3 people only voted with 3 advantage plays. Except make that 4. Brandon plays his definitely secret idol, blocking the Maddy and Kane votes. Then, with a single vote, he takes out Maddy. Yep. A tribe of 6, first round into the game, and literally only 1 vote mattered. In spite of this episode being way too advantage focused for my liking, it did produce a pretty insane vote out to kick the season off. The final pre-merge elimination on this list is a chain reaction of mess ups, where the only person who debatably was playing well got eliminated. This is the Maddy tribe, well known for being an absolute train wreck. And this all started when Mike discovered the Beware advantage. This was before the Beware advantages were actually good, so because Mike didn't admit, soccer made him cry, with Drea thinking she was a potato, and Marianne doing heaven knows what with a rabbit in a mailbox, he lost his vote. But that's okay, the majority still had Daniel, Jenny, and Chanel, who outnumbered Ty and Lydia on the bottom. All we needed was for nobody to make any rash decisions. Well, Chanel risked her vote, and on the boat ride back, she immediately realised her mistake. Daniel was a swing vote and could have just flipped to Hy and Lydia, but instead voted Lydia alongside Jenny, and then Lydia again, which caused a deadlock. I also love Hy's look of utter bewilderment halfway into the tribal council, wondering where everyone's vote went. Before the discussions even take place, Daniel essentially throws in the towel. After some completely needless bashing on Chanel, he then finally flipped to eliminate Jenny. Considering the tribe almost went to rocks due to 2 people losing their vote, it's perhaps one of the craziest pre-merge tribal councils in all of Survivor. Even though it took 2 hours and followed perhaps the worst episode in Survivor ever, I have to go with the Sydney vote off at number 3. Was it completely unfair to give half the tribe immunity at merge? Maybe. Was it unfair to then have an hourglass take immunity away from those that won it? Yep. And was Sydney robbed? Absolutely. But when I look past the amount of BS that caused this elimination, the tribal council was absolutely insane. There were only 5 people without individual immunity coming into the tribal council: Sydney, Deshawn, Danny, Nasir, and Evie, except Nasir had an idol, and Evie had Xander, a close ally, who also had an idol. But fear not, Liana had the knowledge is power advantage, an advantage with an incredibly high success rate. Needless to say, Liana attempted to take Xander's idol. He said no, but you can have this fake, and this panicked the majority. Xander had passed off his advantage to Tiffany, burning Liana's advantage, and Evie was sitting pretty like the little Yase turtle they were. Eventually a split vote was introduced, and it would allow the majority to eliminate Evie if the idol wasn't played. If it was played, then Sydney would go home to preserve the majority. Deshaun even played his extra vote to put extra pressure on Evie. This is when Sydney happens. Sydney, quite frankly, was pissed with production. She made no effort to hide it. The past 2 days had been nothing but a hurricane of bizarre twists, hurting her position in the game. Instead, she decided to take fate into her own hands, sacrificing her vote for the 1 in 6 chance of immunity that comes with a shot in the dark. Not only did she get the not safe scroll, but she was eliminated in a 5-4-3 vote. Had she voted Evie, it would have been a 5-5 tie, with Evie being eliminated on the revote. Now, I'm not sure how well Sydney does moving forward in the game if Evie is the boot, however it certainly is food for thought. Let me know your predictions of her placement in the comments. So while the vote off was great, the insane amount of advantages plus deceitful twists holds it back slightly. Survivor 43 has the joint latest appearance in this list with the infamous Final 6 round. At the merge, the two power players, Jesse and Cody, came together to work out their gameplay for the rest of the season. So Cody, how do you think we should play the game? I was thinking we should pick everyone off on the bottom and piss off every Survivor superfan on Reddit. That sounds perfect. After the merge boot, pretty much every other contestant with a middling edit on the bottom was eliminated from the game back to back. At the final 6, the core group then had to cut one another, and Cody decided to form a pact with Carla where they wouldn't vote each other out. Instead, they would save their idols for the final 5. Except, shock horror, people lie on Survivor. Cody wanted to eliminate Carla with an idol in her pocket, but this worried Jesse because it was a move Cody could add to his resume. Jesse was holding onto his idol for quote-unquote safekeeping after fears surrounding the knowledge's power a few episodes prior. Janine then gave her idol to Dwight, who then gave the idol to Jesse, again to outplay the knowledge's power. Confused? Yep. Thanks Survivor for continuously bringing back this twist that had very few backers. Essentially, Dwight was voted out and was assumed he was eliminated with Janine's idol in his pocket, but Jesse actually had it. So Jesse technically had 2 idols at this round and used this factor to great effect. A tribal he stood up and purposefully played Cody's idol on Owen. This freaked out Carla, again, intending to vote for Owen, and played her idol for herself. In reality, Carla had actually burnt her defense against Jesse at the final 5 because she wasn't the target this round. It was Jesse's closest ally, Cody. Jesse had put forth an absolute masterclass, which made him a shoo-in to win the game, and as a result many consider Jesse to be the best to have never won in the new era. Even though this is a top 5 video, I also wanted to shout out some tribal councils that were very close to making this list, but were just pipped at the post. The Nasir blindside from 41, the Shan blindside from 41, Ellie's blindside in 43, and Carla's round is pretty fun thanks to Jesse's second idol. Brandon's blindside and Franny's blindside both in Survivor 44. Then we also had a really entertaining vote out a few days ago when Sabaya was blindsided with an idol in her pocket in a 2-1 vote. However, on the topic of winning the Survivor 42 Final 7 round, saw Lindsay surviving do or die, only for Drea to use the knowledge's power, and, as contractually obligated with the advantage, she misplayed it. Drea only told Omar about her power, and since Mike didn't have his idol, Drea knew Omar informed Mike about her advantage. This put a target on Omar's back because the jury respected the hell out of his ballsy move. While lots seemed to acknowledge this in the game, it was a perspective seemingly brushed off. Mike and Jonathan wanted Romeo out. On the other end of the spectrum, Lindsay plus Omar wanted Jonathan out. Lindsay was worried about his challenge prowess, but Omar wanted to split up Mike and Jonathan. Then we have Marianne. Marianne was trying to build a revolution against Omar, but everyone she talked to wasn't having it. All she had was her extra vote in Romeo's, but on a tribe of 6 that wouldn't be enough, right? Wait. Marianne had an extra vote that could be played at this final 6 round. Romeo hopped on board the Bunny Rabbit in the Mailbox Express for an Omar blindside. This was shocking as the vote ended up 3-2-2, a plurality vote at the final 6 with razor thin margins. This blindside was also incredibly important for Survivor history because up until that point the extra vote had never been used to great success. But Marianne had a slam dunk as this tactical use of the extra vote allowed her a move only she could claim while getting out an extremely strategic player. As one of my commenters note, the Omar blindside side is so impressive because it's a player on the bottom using a notoriously misused advantage to take out easily the most influential and powerful player remaining, who otherwise would have cakewalked his way to the final tribal. My favourite part of the tribal council is the J-Star at MVGX moment, where Omar asks Marianne if it was her, and she says it was. Just don't go punching any tree branches on your way out, Omar. Modern Survivor's budget probably can't cover the damages. Voting to subscribe to my channel would be an amazing blindside, and here's a video covering the Captain Dilemma in Survivor. A video you'll be sure to enjoy. Nevertheless, enjoy your day, and peace!